Can you build a real estate brand and business really big, but in a really genuine way and be super successful? 100%. And I'm interviewing my friend and colleague, John Dorn, is going to tell you all about his business in this video. If you're here because you want to build your real estate business with super powerful, simple strategies, you're in the right place. Make sure you hit subscribe before we get into the interview. And my name's Alisia Krastel. All right, I have one of the most fabulous, amazing, understated people that you'll ever meet, John Dorn. He is from Grand Rapids, the area, Grand Rapids and surrounding area. I know him personally. He's a coach, he's a colleague, and he is super amazing.
Wow. I'm like,
and I have his shirt on, so you know I love him. So tell us a little bit about you.
I'm blushing. That was quite an introduction, so thank you very much.
Welcome.
Man, I've been selling real estate now. I get my 30-year pin in Grand Rapids, kind of the surrounding area, which is Ada, Cascade, Kent County now for 30 years. I am the managing partner of a small brokerage in Ada. We've got about 25 agents, really, really great team. And then I do some coaching and speaking to, realtors, loan officers, insurance agents, things like that. So 3 amazing kids. I'm so fortunate. I have one of them that works for me as my licensed assistant full time, and then my daughter produces content for businesses, so she actually works on a contract basis for me. Also, we can talk about that later, but I did have a social media team that my daughter was like, "You need to hire that," and I said, "Okay, I will. I'll hire you," and it was the best thing I ever did. So I'm so grateful. So thank you for, yeah.
You're welcome. I wanted to bring you on not only because I love you, but also you are such a huge example of just being an organic, like, this is who I am. This is what my business is and what I'm all about. And it's all part of, like, I mean, I hate even to call it a brand, but it's the experience people have with you. And you've been able to, like, just be you.
Thanks. So, appreciate that. It took, Miles Davis said it took me a long time to play like myself. And there's a mutual third person in our lives that one day completely called me out. I literally did a post on Facebook and he called me like immediately. He's like, "Dude, that's not you. That's not you." So you living authentically is just beautiful, right? And I feel bad for some of us in society that we pigeonhole and we like, "Oh, that's wrong. You shouldn't be that person," instead. Because when you're authentically living your own life, you just attract those, right? And you're so much happier. So thank you for recognizing that. It's been a journey, and I can't even say that it's been an easy journey.
Were you forcing it at first? Like, what should I be like? What do I need to put out there, and trying real hard?
I think that I was being my old self. That's what I was forcing. I kept trying to hold on to the person I was the first half of my life. And I was holding on to some of those beliefs because I felt like I needed to hold on to those people that might, use me to sell real estate or whatever. So I had to come to terms with my own spirituality and then authentically be that person and not fake it. You can't fake it, right? It comes out.
You can't.
It's impossible.
How did your business change when you're like, "Look, this is just who I am, and I'm just going to let all fronts be known"?
Completely for the better, like completely for the better. And then in my head, the fear that I had was, "Oh, those people, I'm going to lose." And I didn't lose it. I mean, I may have lost a few, but not really. It's that arrow, right? You pull it back and you lose a few on the way and it shoots off. So it affected my business dramatically for the better.
And you said you were 99% plus, like almost 100% referral based, relationship based.
I am. I mean, we have a lead generation system that some of our agents work, and I have no judgment if you use Zillow or any of the other platforms. I think it's hard. I mean, I've done it in my lifetime. It's past, but for me right now, yeah, I don't even know if I don't think I did one deal that was any kind of, besides I lead generate though, right? I produce a lot of content. I do. One day I was at the gym and I came walking out of the locker room and I ran into a baby gorilla. He was like, right? Like, boom. I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm sorry." I'm like, "Hey, can I ask you a question?" He's like, "Sure." I'm like, "How long?" He's like, "What?" I'm like, how long have you been doing this? It goes, 13 years. Consistently 13 years, the dude, right? So consistently, my lead generation just looks a lot different than calling people on the phone.
So what does it look like? Like,
Yeah, it's definitely contacting my sphere and staying in front of people. And I produce a lot of content through all the different social medias, through TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. I recently went into your realm and started doing, putting some of my shorts on YouTube. So, um, you know, social media is a big part of my lead generation, and that's just really touching people. It's not, and I don't wear John Dorn Realty. My brand is not necessarily John Dorn Real Estate, but if people don't know what you do, like I don't need to shout I'm a realtor. They already know I'm a realtor. My job is just to stay top of mind and in front of them. So, and we do some mailing. I do really fun events. So, Ashbury obviously is a big part of that. And we do, I have tons of swag with, your shirt. I have cups, I have wine glasses, I have hats, I have my dog Bruno.
who is Ashbury?
Yeah, so she's a 1978 Westphalia van. I bought probably 4 years ago. And my kids named her. My kids and I were all going back and forth about what to name her. And um, Haight Ashbury is the corner of San Francisco. It's the epicenter of the hippie movement. And that's where Ashbury came from. My son told me, I'd never heard of it before. I'm like, okay, that's kind of appropriate. So,
Did you have any with any reservations where you're like, I don't know, or was it just like, yes, 100%, let's go?
no, I had some reservations for sure. Yeah. I yeah. Yeah, I had some reservations. I would say though I was probably 95% in. My reservations more were that people were pressuring me to have it, have my name and phone number on the van, or have your shirt say John Dorn Realty. And I was completely against that. And I'm so glad I didn't do that.
That's when we were talking earlier about like, this is just one little tiny piece of your brand. This is sort of a hook point into your life and your business, but this isn't you. It's just one little representative of you. And so is all the other things, like the way you do social media, because I never see you going out there and saying, who do you know who's going to buy or sell real estate in the next 30 seconds? Like, I don't see that as your post. So the
No,
way you deliver it is part of your brand.
once in a while I may do something that's in the way of thank you for the refer, thank you so much, hey, I just got a best referral from somebody, thank you so much. So I don't, and man, sometimes asking that might not be the best thing either though, like because there are times when I've sent out the letter like, hey, if you know of anybody that's thinking, thank you so much for your support, if you know of anybody that's thinking about buying or selling, would you mind giving my name out? So I may do that on a more personal letter, but not on a whole or social media level.
I think people feel a certain way around you, and that's part of your like living, breathing brand. They feel like welcomed and heard and seen and like
Thanks.
cared for, right?
I'm a huge energy person, like your energy introduces you before you walk in the room. And I'm a big affirmations person. I'm a big manifestation person. And part of my affirmation is every single day, I ask to be happy and I want to make others happy.
And the business takes care of itself, right? If you switch businesses, do you think they would probably still use you because of how good you
Oh,
are?
yeah, nobody cares where I work. Yeah, no.
Right.
I mean, that's important. I think sometimes in the beginning who you surround yourself with, but no, nobody cares.
So if it feels like, I hear a lot of times like, well, I don't know what to do for my brand. Like, you didn't know 30 years ago that this would be part of your brand?
No, and I kind of, in a strange way, like, like part of my affirmations, the universe has my back, right? So yeah, I actually was looking at a Mercedes Sprinter van, and because my son's in Colorado and I wanted to be able to drive it out there and do some camping and things like that. And a friend coworker came into my office and I showed her, and her and her husband have several vehicles. I mean, several vehicles. And she's like, don't buy that. I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, it's a depreciating asset. You're gonna like, where are you gonna park that in the wintertime, John? I'm like, well, I don't know, but I want it. And then she like pulled one up and she goes, you need to buy one of these. I'm like, okay. And strangely enough, I moved into my house and I said to myself, um, when I move into my house, then I'm going to look for a van. I had too much going on. I literally moved in my house that night, went to my bedroom, flipped up on my laptop, and I found Ashbury in Grand Rapids. And I went the next day and I bought it.
That's for the universe working for you.
Yeah, it just took care of itself. So um, I'm all about branding in the aspect of what can you be remembered by for something else outside of real estate, mother hustle, whatever it is.
What is it for you? What do people remember? The Ashbury's one, but what else?
Yeah. So we do Bruno cams. Every time I get a listing, I take, I don't, um, my assistant does them. So I'm not great at some of that technology stuff, but Josh puts a GoPro on Bruno and he takes Bruno through the house, and that's called a Bruno cam.
Who's
People
Bruno?
say,
Some people might not know who Bruno is. Who's
"Oh,
Bruno?
it's a French bulldog." Oh, wait, here.
Oh, there he is by the fire. There's Bruno.
Hey, hi. That's Bruno. He's a French bulldog. So it gives an opportunity for me to expose a listing before it's actually listed a few days. It kind of creates buzz. Apple takes a new iPhone and buzzes it before it comes out, right? Well, our job should be, if we have a listing, buzz it before it comes out. So Bruno's a big, I mean, I have air fresheners with Bruno on it.
Oh, that's so funny.
So if you get a birthday card or something, you'll probably either get an Ashbury or a Bruno air freshener, or an Ashbury or Bruno magnet. So we do the Bruno cams. We do, the everything to do with, and I have, honestly, I have 3 different logos with Ashbury that we use frequently. So it seems like I'm missing something. And of course, social media, TikTok and Instagram.
Maybe your kids, like I feel like a calmness is part of your brand. Like I remember you for calm, ease, good energy, like those things I feel like are you, and it's all wrapped up into your brand.
Yeah, thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah, making sure their exterior matches your interior sometimes. I can't say that I don't often struggle with anxiety, but meditation, manifestation, and affirmations have definitely helped calm my soul. Because I think, I used to have long hair, and I think people, oh, you're California, you're so chill. And I'm like, not on the inside.
This thing's going crazy in here.
But I've worked really hard at, staying pretty level.
Can you walk us through that a little bit? Because you're not the only agent, right? That feels like crazy inside.
Yeah, well, on one hand, we talked about manifestation. On the other hand, it's meditation, and there's a reason why they're teaching meditation to high schoolers and middle schoolers, and now because we live in a really, really, really fast-paced, technology-driven, always on society. So to check out and calm my mind, I mean, there's times when I'll do I'll do some meditation in the morning, and then in the afternoon, I'll be like, I gotta go. Like I'll run up to it. And I think sometimes people think meditation is, crossing your legs and reaching enlightenment, you know, um, and meditating for 4 hours or something. And that's not, there's some meditation mantras that are pretty simple that I do. It's not always checking out, but if I can calm my mind and check out, that's definitely a reset. There's a great, I actually have the tattoo. There's a really great saying, and it says, chop wood and carry water. So on the pathway to enlightenment, you chop wood and carry water. When you reach enlightenment, you chop wood and carry water. You keep doing. So it actually kind of works in the spiritual realm, and it completely works in the real estate realm, especially when you're starting out or when you reach it. So many agents, grab a bourbon, smoke a cigar, and they're like, I made it. And then all of a sudden, well, how come my phone's not ringing? Because you put your feet up. You're not being consistent anymore. So, so my morning looks like a huge set of affirmations. If anybody wants those affirmations, I'm happy to. I'm going to probably start doing some TikToks with that. Then putting out what my affirmations look like in the morning. Um, I expand in abundance, success, and love. I expand in abundance, success, and love every single day as I aspire those around me to do the same. So that's one of my mantras, one of my affirmations. I do some manifestation often. That's a long story, but not often, almost every day. And then I definitely meditate. So I have a routine.
So it doesn't have to be hit it hard all day long, grind, 9 to 9 p.m., 5 to 9 p.m.
You mean with the business or within manifest, like in?
Well, being able to be successful in real estate, because you hear all the time, get up at 5 a.m., grind. If you're not available 24/7, you can't make it.
I used to think that, I don't know about you, but some of my coaching clients that weren't morning people, I'm like, no, you got to get up in the morning. And I have a client that literally probably gets up at 9 o'clock in the morning, but at night, and I have to say, like, Jeff, man, dude, like at 9 o'clock, I'm in bed. At 9 o'clock, he's like ready to rock, right? Like that's when he does his work. So I've had to kind of change my perspective on when are you best firing on all your signals and do your work, right? But absolutely not. If you do this business from 7 a.m. to 9 o'clock now, you will burn yourself out. So um, I work very, very hard at boundaries. And I think you teach your clients the second you answer your phone past 7 o'clock, they're going to call you every time after 7 o'clock, man. So I work hard at those boundaries and making sure I'm not working 70 hours a week.
I think the people that do work 24/7, they're not as good of an agent. Like I can out negotiate you because you're tired. You're tired. I can catch you on a weak moment.
100%.
So tell us about, you said December, you're busy. Like you're pretty busy, and a lot of agents right now are going, oh my gosh, what's going on? Where's my next deal? And you talked about consistency. And then you said something that I think a lot of people should hear about. You think I'm on Facebook a lot, but I'm not really. So how do you do that without being on social media all the time?
I think we agents, and I know it's hard if it's a newer agent, I would beat into your head, this is a business. Don't spend everything you make on yourself, right? Like make sure that you treat it like a business. 30% of it should be reinvesting in your business. I don't even know. Interesting question for you. I'm not sure you can outspend this business. You can spend wrong, but I don't know that you can outspend this business. It's a business.
Yeah. Like the more help you get, the more TC help, more admin, more social media help, it can always help you grow. Is that what?
And I know what I'm good at. And I know what I'm not good at. So I do have a social media team. I have not a team of, well, I did. And I have a full-time assistant that is on Facebook, often looking for things that we need to do send out cards for. And by the way, I still have your send out set card because you sent me the coolest card ever. And I still have it. So we use send out quite frequently. We're looking for things, graduation, weddings, deaths, things like that, anniversaries to send out. So my assistant is on my social media often. And then I had Gary V probably 3 or 4 years ago was like TikTok. And I'm like, I don't know. So then I hired a social media team and said, okay, I want to start producing content through TikTok that I can use on Insta and I can use on Facebook. So I hired them, but I don't think they were catching my vision. They wanted to do the hey, if you want to buy a house, call John Dorn. And they wanted to do, I just sold a house and I'm at a closing. And I don't believe that people want to see that. I believe people want to know you're a realtor, but I also believe that people want to know about your life. So the videos were subpar. Um, my daughter, and I underestimated her, what she was doing back then, to be honest with you. And I don't know how I did this. Even then, I hired somebody to do it, and she had 100,000 followers on TikTok. And I was kind of, to my, your kids, you're like, poo-pooing
Yeah.
it. And she's like, Dad, they suck. Like, I can do so much better than that. I'm like, okay, I'll hire you. And she literally took me from 500 to 10,000 followers in like 5 months or something like that. It was crazy. And her content was so much better. So
How long do you spend making TikTok content?
you
A day.
know, that's the interesting, here's the truth. I think people think, again, like I'm on social media all the time. Now we are a little bit less, but it takes about a total of 2 hours to do 5 videos. So she comes, we go wherever, and we goof around a lot too, hour and a half to 2 hours. And then it probably takes her, another 5 hours or so to edit them all too. But my personal time is only a couple hours a week.
And you're funny as can be on TikTok, honestly. Like you wouldn't think like sitting here, you're so chilled. You're like, yes, I used to be a hippie, but you are hilarious. And when you see you get both energies. You get like the funny, but you get like, okay, this guy's like cool and laid back and like knows his stuff. It's so funny. You have to check him out on TikTok, actually.
Well, like I went into a listing one time. The husband's like, honey, do you follow John on TikTok? I'm like, oh, I don't know, because but that's authentically people. I'm sure that there's realtors that say, and people that think, he shouldn't post that, or he shouldn't. I'm like, I don't care. It's me. I'm gonna have fun. So some of it's a little bit inappropriate. I don't post anything outside of what my daughter, like I'll send her something, and usually I know the answer is no. Like, hey, can I post this? I just did that. She'd be like, no.
Don't do it.
No.
This is good. So you have help and so I wanted to skip back. So your assistant's looking for opportunities to send cards. It's not you looking all day. It's like, hey, John, so-and-so had this or this happened. Make sure you send a card. Doesn't always have to be you.
No, he's on my social media, liking, commenting, and looking for opportunities. Yeah. So he's making sure that we're in the algorithms of people that aren't necessarily in our algorithms.
Yeah.
Or wouldn't be in our algorithms. Man, like 3 years ago, a really good client of mine's husband passed away. And I didn't know it. And I was shocked I didn't know it until she called me. Now, part of it, I'm not on Facebook a lot, but part of it is you have to be so careful that you only see the 20 people, right?
Yeah.
And you see the same people. So we work very hard at seeking out all of my core friend group that I know are here and will send me, referrals and business. So he works hard at that.
I think that's a great way to just make sure that you're not missing anybody. Like you're still doing the touches. You're still caring about the people. It's just you'd get a little backup so nothing slips through the cracks.
And I that's a really good point. I have a loan officer who I've known since high school. Every Friday, I get an email from him about something. I have not heard from him. I bet it's been 5 or 6 years. He's never picked up the phone and said, hey, I send you something every Friday. Can I help you? So my job is one-on-one and the phone. Yeah, that's a huge, I would not ever want that to fall apart.
That sticks a long time. He's doing a drip campaign that's automated and you're taking a little extra time and that holds with people.
So important.
Yeah. You were talking about manifestation. So can you help us with that? Because it's not like, that's not the grind part. That's like, I can't express to people enough how much, if you're doing inner work and like working on yourself and your energy, that improves your business more than any like activity you can do as far as like sales.
It's why we're friends. So I wish I can't wait to watch this back and say, because you're right. I think it's one of the most important parts of our hope. It's the most important part, right? So like if we're in line spiritually, mentally, physically, our relationships, one of them's probably going to be out of whack a little bit, but it helps us do our business the best. So manifestation to me, is daydreaming a little bit, like daydream about it. There's manifestation without action. You can't just say, hey, I want to be a millionaire and sit on a couch, right? You've got to get into action and know how you're doing. So if I was an agent right now, if you and I were coaching, I'd be like, okay, we're going to manifest here of how many clients, what does your client look like, where does your client live, where are your clients going to buy, what does their makeup look like? So let's start dreaming and thinking. Part of it is, if you're religious or universe or whatever, thanking and being grateful for those people ahead of time. Thank you so much. And I do spend some times in the morning before I get out of bed, I visualize somebody texting me or calling me, writing a note, call John, email John. I visualize that person, and I'm grateful that I'm about to receive a phone call from somebody. So I visualize that. I'm a huge person that your subconscious mind is like a child. It's listening, it hears you, and it believes you. So if you're not going to sell another piece of real estate, you're right. You're not. If you're going to sell 10 homes this week, you're right. You're going, like, believe your mind and vibrate at that level. So I love writing down. I have a list, and I tell my clients right away, write down a list of 100 things that you want to manifest next year. And it could be just like, I want to paint my bedroom. For me, it's yoga and core at least 4 times a week. It's running at least 4 times a week. So I manifest those things, but the more it's in my head, our subconscious mind kind of works together like that. So we want to take the wheel, we want to like produce it. And it's a fine line of producing it and putting it out and seeing it and being grateful in the universe.
I'm so glad you mentioned the subconscious mind, because I'm like, people are thinking this is frou-frou-y, but then if you need the science, like if you tell the subconscious mind to focus on something, it's going to go try to seek it out for you. Even if it's when you're looking on Facebook or on social media and you just see someone's that you wouldn't have seen before, like it's so powerful. So don't think that this is that, like, there's science behind this stuff.
I'll tell you a story. I went to a bourbon tasting, and it was kind of by accident. And the dude owns a very large adult beverage store near us. And he said, I'm going to put 4 bourbons out. One's going to be $25. One's going to be $70 in between, right? And we were tasting the bourbons. Long story short, the 2 of us picked the cheap bourbon. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So the next day I went over to our local grocery store, and I'm like, I want to buy this bourbon. And I couldn't find it. I'm like, doggone it. And that grocery store is kind of an affluent area. So I thought, oh, you're only selling high end. So then the next week I went back, and I'm like, I can't believe they don't sell that. So I came home, my friend was here and Ellie was here. And I'm like, I cannot believe they don't have that bourbon. And she was like, yeah, they do. I'm like, no, they don't. I will bet you anything. I've been there twice. It is not on the shelf. She's like, Ellie, get your shoes on. We went over to Myers, walked into the store. She walked over, grabbed the bottle, and handed it to me. I told my self-conscious mind they did not have it, and they didn't have it. I'm not kidding you. I searched that store for that bourbon, and it was right there. I told my mind they didn't have it.
This doesn't make you so mad when you're like, I just made that happen the wrong way I wanted to, because I was thinking about it the wrong way.
Well, and I think the universe is so we like manifest. I want to do whatever, $5 million in business next year. Like, I'm manifesting $5 million. I'm seeing this. And then during the day, you're like, it's never going to happen. I'm not, this isn't going to happen. Well, the universe is pretty confused right now. Your vibration's confused. Well, is it the 5 million, or is it that's never going to happen? So stop living. Stop living that. And then our voices are a snowball, right? Like, oh, instead of going down that, holy shit, I'm not going to sell real estate. I'm going to end up, shaking hands at a local grocery store. Instead of doing that, how about, no, man, this is going to be great. Let's fill our minds with positive and watch it come true.
Oh my gosh, it listens so much. Do you have, on the same note, an inner voice, like a good one and a bad one? Like I have Liza, she lies a lot. So I
Yeah.
tell her, I hear you, Liza. Now Opal's stepping in and we're doing this. Do you have that?
I don't name it, but I love that because that's a really great. I love everything about that. Absolutely. Yeah. And you have to step back and say, no, hey, you're not talking right now. This voice is talking, right?
I
Yeah.
was told it's not your voice. The voice that's negative is you've picked up things from people throughout time, and that's the negative voice, but they're not your words. Your words is like how I would talk to you, or like
Yeah.
how I would speak to someone else. That's my words. That's someone else that I don't get to claim.
Love that. Yeah. I
I think
believe
it's true.
it's so true. It's so true. And what voice do you want to listen to? We
The
have that.
podcast.
Which voice?
Yeah, which
We
one?
have a choice, right? You
Yeah,
can listen to what were the names? What was the bad voice?
Liza.
Liza. You can listen to Liza all day long. And if you believe in Liza, it's gonna come true.
Yep. So I choose Opal. Opal's cooler. All
Love
the things that you do. Um, I think we have a lot of people in like that we run with that have the same philosophy, is that we're not attached to the outcome. And can you talk a little bit to that? Like, are you ever attached to the outcome? Do you ever?
No, I mean, no expectations, right? Like we came in this phone call, we had a little glitch, and I'm like, no expectations. I love you no matter what. We'll do this again tonight, tomorrow. Like, right? No
Yeah.
expectations. But I also, one of my mantras is the universe has got my back. I cannot fail because the universe has my back.
Yep.
So no expectations, not attached to the outcome, but I also know that everything is as it should be. So if we didn't have this phone call today, it's for a reason.
Yep. And if your neighbor uses someone else as an agent, it's okay. Like, it's okay.
Well, that was hard in the beginning, right? That's your brother or man, I agents all the time in my office come to me and they're upset because their brother, their cousin, or somebody used somebody else. And I give thanks. They're hard. Doesn't mean it's not hard. Doesn't mean you didn't need the money that month. But I trust the universe that for some reason I'm not supposed to be with that person. Maybe that realtor needed the money more. Maybe that seller was going to be a pain in my neck and I wasn't supposed to. So I've worked hard at giving thanks on those. And I'm telling you what, there's been a couple times it's really hard to give thanks.
I agree. I agree. I can't say that I've never, I mean, sometimes I delete people out of my database who are rotten to me, but not for using someone else, but like truly rotten.
Well, I had somebody not, it's probably been, 3-4 years, a family member of a family that is really important to my life. Like I've done business with this extent, like family, brothers and sisters, and they use somebody else. And I was a little hurt, right? Like, I'm like, okay, everything is as it should be. Fast forward, they get the call. We really made a mistake when we bought the house with that person. And now we want to sell and we want to use you.
It is as it should be.
Yeah. Right. So, yeah.
Getting ready to get your 30-year PIN. That's a long time in real estate. It's
Yeah.
hard for me to go back to like a new agent because I have 15 years, you have 30 years. That's a long time to go back. But how about the realtors who are like, they know how to sell real estate and real estate is consuming them? What's your best advice for them?
Um, yeah, set boundaries, man. Definitely mindset and manifestation, right? Like set it, but then don't work. So if you work 7 to 9, you're gonna burn yourself out. You might make a lot of money. I have a secret. You can sell a lot of real estate working 20 hours a week. You can.
Right.
You don't
They
have,
don't want, the industry doesn't want you to believe that though.
no, no, you gotta work 70, you gotta be available 24/7. And the second I answer my phone past 7 o'clock, that person knows I am now available at 7 o'clock. So if it's an offer, I'll be answering my phone,
Yeah.
but I usually, if it's 7, I'll see you in the morning. Like we can, I judge that. And consistency, spending money on this business is important to treat it like a business. I'm all for coaching, like I'm a coach, you're a coach, but I'm a coach and you're a coach because we had a coach. I mean, there's a time when I had a spiritual director, a physical trainer, a life coach, and a real estate coach. And I had a, spiritual, I had a spiritual director that I saw too. So I'm all for getting help to take you to the next level, to break, because we have barriers, and in order to break through that, oftentimes we need a hand up.
Sometimes they're different people. Like you might be this person this year, but it might be a different person next year.
Yeah, for sure.
You mentioned boundaries, and you said about the cutting the calls off at 7. What are other boundaries that you've set or standards that you raised?
Yeah, I struggle sometimes with, like we all do, with people that my real estate net is wide, right? Super wide. My core group is super tight. Like if our energies aren't aligning, if we don't have the same value systems, probably not going to hang out with you from time. Sometimes it's a smaller circle when you do that. So, but in real estate, sometimes I struggle with, boy, if you're just not an energy that I align with, or if you're a person that's probably doesn't have the same value system that I have, I don't want to do business with you. And sometimes that's hard, right? Because that 10 grand sounds pretty good, but you're not a very nice person.
Yeah.
So my boundaries are, I am now, the longer I get in this business, probably the more my clientele are like me and then have friends like we content. And that's where sometimes the lead generation systems, the Zillows, like then you tend to get outside of your energy and you don't really necessarily know their value systems. I tell people, if you're looking for somebody to take advantage of another person, or, I'm not your realtor, not your
Yeah.
guy. Like you
Yeah.
need to find somebody else.
It is really hard to like want somebody to win that you really think is a jerkwad, like, and your agent has to want you to win because we kind of control some of that.
Do we don't totally do. Yeah. Yeah. And if you're an idiot, I don't really want to work with you, and I don't want you to get that house.
Right. It's like, I don't want you to win. So you got to work with somebody else because I can't fight for you. How, like, I don't know if you do this. I believe that you probably do. But when I'm sending offers, the good part of working by relationship is that I can say, look, I've sold this person 3 houses. They're amazing, good, reasonable people, way better than someone going, I don't know Adam from whatever. Being able to vouch for that, especially when you're multiple offers, they're like, okay, this person.
And equally, the relationships with the other realtors are so important in your community, right? Like
Yep.
I'm gonna, my first few 15 years in this business, I probably wasn't a very nice person because I was so in my own circle. I didn't care who you were. I didn't care. Like I was so centered on that. And I think that wasn't a good move on my part. Now I work really hard at knowing every loan officer, every realtor, and I want to be in a good relationship with you, not because, on both sides, right? Because if I bring you an offer, that John Dorn's a good dude. We're going to work through this together. I actually hired an agent. She sold my listing. Maybe she'll listen to this. And it was probably the worst transaction she ever had and the worst transaction I ever had. And we were just friends through it. And I'm like, hey, why don't you come to work for me? Like, why don't you come to, and she's like, okay, let's talk about that. So those relationships, and then when an idiot brings you an offer, like, hey, we have 2 offers. That guy doesn't have, he's been a jerk to me before, or she's amazing. Like, I
Yeah,
know she can get it home.
I totally agree. 20 hours. If we're saying you can sell a lot of real estate in 20 hours, which I believe the same thing. What are your activities in 20 hours? Like, what are you most purposeful in that, like, I have to get this done in these 20 hours to make it happen?
Yeah. My day is a little bit different because in the last, Josh has now been full-time. I always weaved in and out of an assistant, but a full-time assistant, I've only had 2 hours, but I completely believe that was a mistake in my previous life. I should have had an assistant from the beginning. Just frees up your life. Lead generation, you cannot, it's just the most important thing. So for me, my activities definitely are focusing on lead generation. Like how am I gonna, birthday cards, anniversary cards, all of those things, to make sure that I have systems in place. I probably have systems I don't even know I have in place. Like Josh sets them up, like home anniversaries and birthday cards. And this time of the year, oftentimes we'll send out, hey, you might want to know what's sold in your neighborhood. Like these 5 houses sold. So for me, that's a must. Shaking hands and kissing babies is a must. Getting out in the public is a must. And I don't care if you go to the mall or you go to the store, like that, being seen and being active, you can't, and I think you and I talked, you can't outspend this business. You can spend it wrong, but
Which a lot of people do.
yeah.
Tell us anything else you'd like us to know that is just burning in your heart.
I think treat it like a business, like, and it is a hustle, like, right? I mean, there's a reason why there's a 38% turnover rate every year in this business, right? There's a reason, because you have to hustle, you do have to get up, and you do have to shake hands and kiss babies. But in the end, everyone stops at 90, right? 90%. No one takes it to 100. We get discouraged. We're not consistency, and consistency absolutely pays off.
It's fun. It is fun. What do you think consistency is the one thing that kept you from being one of the real estate failures?
For sure. Yeah. And being shaking hands and kissing babies, and wherever you find, I've never joined some kind of group and not gotten a deal from it. Right? Like, I don't care if it's a running club or a crochet club or so, you can't be a secret agent.
Because you're not slimy.
Oh, geez. Yeah. You know what? That's the whole note, right? Like, if you're slimy, people smell that a mile away. They'll smell that on Facebook.
Yeah.
They,
Joining
they,
the group is not what's going to get you the referral.
no, join the group, but no, if that's you're right. I'm glad you said that. If you do that for that reason, it's not going to happen. But if you do it because you want to meet people and hang out and be kind, yeah, that's that whole, when the loan officers now are all calling you because they all were refinancing the last year and it's all gone away. So now every single loan officer is calling you because they're desperate. Well, as soon as the phone rings, right, you're like, oh, geez. So you have to be careful with that. We do too. Like, people see through. If you're calling to be authentically, how's your life going? I want to help you. Help people get what they want, and you will get what you need.
And you're not an extrovert, right? You're an introvert.
I am an extrovert only because I have to be an introvert at times. So I found that I'm primarily an extrovert, but I can't be a good extrovert if I don't have my good alone time and I recharge.
Okay, good to know. Because I'm like, I know you're not like the person who's like, I'm the life of the party. I'm coming to everything all the time. I'm out there every day, right? That's
no, I'm pretty cautious on those. I often like to have that control of what party I bring to, like, what party am I going to? Is probably a party I threw or something, or if I am invited, it's a party that I want to make sure that not I'm getting business from. I just want to hang out with people with similar energies and similar life goals, and aren't, cutting people down and are trying to make the world a better place, right? I expand in abundance, success, and love. I want to help, I want to expand in love, not in judgment.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, especially for the holidays. I see you're all decorated, and I know I'm so happy I knew you would agree to do this, but I'm so happy that you did.
I'm so glad it was really great to see you. Love to support you. So thanks for doing what you do.
Thank you.
If you're enjoying these interview style videos, please make sure you hit the thumbs up and comment below that you like these, because we're going to dive into this more for you to see the behind the scenes of the best agents that I know.